Boom.
I'm looking at the chat. I remember from last time you were like, don't read it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, it's always a mistake. This. Okay. You can, just as long as you speak into the mic, you're good.
Yo. Wait, let me move this a little bit.
Okay. There it is.
All right. Here we are. So what,
Dave Maklovich.
3 cameras. Wow.
Dude, I have more. Look. Boom, boom.
Oh, my God.
I have a lot.
Okay.
Here, we can go through them. Look at that.
So wait, oh, wow.
Boom,
okay,
right there. Okay. And then boom, right there.
Love that.
Okay. And then boom, right there. Last one.
Nice. Cool.
Okay. Yeah.
Thanks for having me, bro.
Thanks for coming on.
Of course.
Bro, I remember seeing Chromeo Heart Summer 2011. This is so awesome. Okay.
From Montreal. I saw another one. All right. Okay, dog. We don't have to.
She's a big cutie, Fiona. Her name is Fiona, and she's a little bit of a hoe. She loves being pet.
She's very okay.
She's awesome though. She never barks. She never does anything.
2014. No, I'm seeing some.
Dave is looking like a fashion-aware version of yourself. Okay, so this is what we need to address. First of all,
because we had that happen last time we streamed.
Yeah, exactly.
But I feel like this is that was before you got Diesel.
What do you mean diesel?
You don't know what diesel means? That's
like I got Jack.
Yeah,
I saw I saw your old photo.
Slang. It's New York slang for that.
I saw your old photo of yourself that you posted on your Instagram. You were fucking diesel, dude.
Was I?
I feel like you were diesel as hell in like 2015 or whatever.
Oh, you know what? I had a little. Maybe I need to.
You were Jack.
It was yoga. It was
yoga.
You
were doing yoga.
But yeah, I did. I probably need to go back to that a little bit.
Okay.
Maybe that's funny, but you know, this is Diesel. No, that's Diesel.
Okay, let me. This is kind of hard to.
Jesus Christ.
Okay,
Actually,
I think
this is crazy. What else?
I've been, you went to Coachella, I went to Coachella. You were rocking some incredible fits. I was rocking some fits. I got fucking blasted for it being ugly and then also it being too expensive. I bought a Gucci shirt. Do you own any Gucci shit?
No.
You don't own a single piece of Gucci?
No.
God damn. That was my first piece of Gucci that I ever purchased, and it was a bad decision.
So, was that your first Coachella?
No.
No. Okay.
No, I've been to Coachella hella times.
Right. Okay.
I've gone to Coachella I went to Coachella as like an influencer with Forever 21, doing like an activation.
Okay.
I went as mostly just a broke boy every single time. This was my first ever.
This was your first VIP Coachella?
Did I have? I've been to Coachella just for the parties. I've been to Coachella just for But this was the first time I went to Coachella with like actual, enough money to get a place to stay in with a bed, and I wasn't like laying on the floor in a cot.
Somebody said, "Introduce your guest." I'm Dave from Chromeo. Dave1 from Chromeo.
Yeah, we got Dave1, David Maklovich in the building.
Dave a little bit. I'll move closer.
Hold on.
But I can't be reading all this because it's going to drive me crazy.
Oh yeah, it 100% will drive you crazy.
So what happened?
What's your Twitter? I don't know what your Twitter is.
The Twitter is just Chromeo, but my personal Instagram is @Dave1. But you can put Chromeo in there too.
Okay.
Chromeo is just my band. I don't have a personal Twitter.
Smart.
Instagram is my name, just Dave with the number 1. What was I going to say? So what was your Gucci gate? I mean, so I'm assuming, let me guess. So I'm assuming that you've got some people calling out the paradox between your radical leftist views and the fact that you're wearing a $1,100 shirt at Coachella, right?
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
And so how do you clap back to that?
Well, one,
I'll let you finish typing.
Yeah, hold on. Let me just fucking post this. How I clap back to that is the same as like I've done other, ridiculous commodity consumption purchases before, and it's always the same shit.
We're sitting in one.
I mean, this house is house is. I mean, I think it's nice. It's a normal house. Yeah, you have a nice house. You have a very nice house.
I sold the LA house, but it was very nice.
Well, I'm just talking like it's very well decorated.
Oh yeah, that's my brother's place.
Wherever you stay, it's very well decorated. So, for me, it's just like the reason why I got it. The reason why I got the shirt was because I felt very, I felt insecure. I had another shirt that I had on that morning. and like everyone is dressed to the fucking nines. You know how Coachella is. It's about like,
of course,
it's literally about like, getting, showing up and like influencing. It's not about the music at all for the most part.
Unfortunately for people like me, but okay.
Yeah, I mean, for you, it's about the music. You're an artist, but for me and for others, it's more so about, influencer shit, being, taking photos with your outfits or whatever the fuck. Do you want anything to drink, by the way?
I could get something, but finish your story. I'm at, cause it's, I think, I mean, I don't follow, people should know that we're friends.
Yeah.
And that, I think safe to say we have a lot of mutual respect for each other and we have,
and we have similar opinions on a lot of matters.
Definitely. We can get into that, but I don't follow, the controversies surrounding.
Yeah. You're a normal person. That's why you only have the Chromeo account on Twitter. And
I'll see like when there's a big article and I'll hit you up, bro. I'm so proud of you, blah, blah, blah. But I don't follow, the attempted takedowns or whatever, all that stuff. So, but I'm assuming, some people call out what they see as a paradox. So I wanted to see kind of how you reacted to that.
Well, first of all,
Somebody goes, wait, he's 43 years old.
First of all, do I think that it's like a stupid purchase? 100%.
Yeah.
But I should be allowed to make stupid purchases. I'm also not anti fucking buying things that would even for a brief moment make you feel good. You know what I mean? If you like, I like fashion. I think that that's totally fine. I've talked about how like commodity consumption is a good way to dull the masses, and it's a necessity for control. And I think that it's like the one redeeming, well, not redeeming, but like one aspect of neoliberalism that I think even socialists need to understand. And even utilize is something I talked about a lot. I'm a hedonist, like I openly admit it. So in that sense, like I don't think that it's like outside of the scope, and that I should be allowed to fucking make stupid purchases from time to time. You know what I mean?
So you answer with kind of like a healthy dose of self-awareness.
Yeah, no, 100%. I'm not gonna be like, oh, it's an absolute necessity to the socialist movement that I purchase a shirt. No, of course not. It's dumb as fuck. Like.
Right.
But you make dumb purchases all the time, chatters, and no one holds you accountable for your actions because it's just not something you would ever do. That's precisely why. What do you call it? Most people would never do this to other celebrities that they appreciate and enjoy. One of the things that like actually made me really upset was there was someone who was like, Hasan is a bad person. Like literally, they said like Hasan. A lot of people were saying that, but they were literally saying like, there's another YouTuber who also has long hair, and they were basically saying that what's his face, Mark. What's the name of the YouTuber chat? There's a tweet basically someone saying like Markiplier, who's like a very nice YouTuber, very kind gentleman. Markiplier is what Hasan would be like if he was a good person, but he's like a bad person. I was like, what the fuck? This dude's like way richer than me. You know what I mean? This dude's worth $38 million. And you're saying like, if your metric of why I'm an evil person is because I have money, okay, and I spend it, then how the fuck are you going to compare me to someone who's like way wealthier than me and say they're a good person in comparison? Like, I think it's okay to say that, you hate this kind of consumption. Like you despise it personally. That could be your thing. That's one thing. But to say that it's like it shows hypocrisy or you're a bad person or, I'm evil or anything like that, I take issue with. Like a lot of people on the internet can't just say, oh, I don't like that guy. Or, oh, I didn't like that move. They have to turn it into some kind of moral crusade. They have to moralize their criticism. They have to couch their criticism in some like additional layer of like intellectual thought when no such thing exists.
I also think that like I think it's fair game, right? Because you're now a complete public personality, way more than when we first met. And you are, and it's same with me to some degree as a musician. And, we expose ourselves to that and it's fair game. And I think all the little jabs in the chat rooms, we just got to take it with, kind of a sense of humor, a sense of self-awareness. I love when people clown me. Like, I don't know. It's fine. It's part of the package.
No, I agree.
We're exposing ourselves to that and that's okay. There's, I grew up immersed in French culture because I grew up in Montreal, and I looked. This dude goes Waldo looking. Bro, I am Waldo. So I grew up in Montreal, Canada, and there was a lot of exposure to French culture. And my parents are, well, my mom's from Morocco, so we grew up like kind of reading French media and following French politics, which I'm also doing right now. Other topic of conversation, but in French culture, there is a long tradition of what they call the caviar left.
Oh yeah, that exists everywhere. Yeah.
But in
It's
America,
champagne socialism.
In America, it's a little bit newer because the term socialism is only sort of socially acceptable as of 10 years, right? So
Yeah.
So I think it's a paradox that people will be quick to point out, and it's legitimate, and it's up to people like you to defend yourself, man.
Yeah.
Those arms.
And I use it.
Well, use it or
I
whatever,
use these
right?
like cancellations as an attempt. Like originally, I literally used the cancellations like this as an attempt to, I guess, like educate people to be like, listen, you're being ridiculous. You're falling into the reactionary framing that like socialism is a poverty cult. It's not. It's not a poverty cult. It's about like ensuring that everyone gets to be able to experience certain things, that everyone gets to be able to lead fulfilling lives and gets more from their labor.
Yep.
Like it's nothing about being fucking destitute and live in like horrid gray conditions.
But
that's right-wing framing.
right. But at the same time, if you're gonna walk around, or I'm gonna walk around, whatever, with a fancy item of clothing, or with a fancy watch, like Fidel did, he had two.
Yeah,
shades.
I think back in the day, the Rolex was more like
Nah.
was more. No, you don't think so?
it's fancy.
I thought Rolex. I thought Rolex wasn't as fancy back.
Why
in the
was
day.
he wearing two?
I don't know. He's probably flexing.
Yeah, definitely.
My man was flexing. Good for him.
But you just gotta be able to. You gotta have your defense ready, and you have to also, I think, be able to, like you did, inject some nuance. I know with Chromio personally, like, some people may call us out, but we're always sure to, like, we do a lot of fundraising, raise a lot of money for a lot of causes, a lot of donations, and so on. So we try to also keep that aspect healthy. More so in the last few years, and one of my biggest regrets is that we didn't start sooner. But in the last few years, that's been like a huge part of what we do. Anyways,
See, look, a Rolex originally purchased for just $90 in the early 1960s, sold for $250,000 at auction. Yeah, Rolexes
I don't
used
know
to
if
be
that,
like.
I need more receipts than that.
I'm almost certain.
Really?
Like, I'm almost certain Rolexes did not used to be considered a luxury good because they would give it to pensioners. Like, it was an indication that you got your gold Rolex watch as a working class person.
And there was also the old corporate ones. You can still find like a Honda Rolex, or like those old
exactly. Those are fire.
But what did we come to talk about? Or I'm happy to freestyle with you too.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have to talk about like anything specific. I just
So what were you going to discuss today? So on a day like today, I don't watch all your streams. So like a day like today rolls around.
you're like a healthy person. That's why
you're streaming. You're going to do this for how many hours?
I started off at 11. I'll probably keep going until like 6 p.m., 7 p.m.
Okay, so you're here all day.
Yeah.
There's going to be you're going to go over what? Memes. You're going to talk about Russia. You're going to talk about Ukraine. You're going to talk about Palestine. You're going to talk about, you had some, you basically go over.
Yeah, I started out with Amber Heard, Johnny Depp trial.
Right. I'm glad I missed that part because I don't follow.
Yeah, there was, it's like a huge thing going on. It's like very public. We talked about.
I superficially followed. Okay.
Yeah. There's Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's being questioned right now for her
is
involvement in
her
January
day?
6th. Yeah.
Jesus. Okay.
But that was kind of boring, so I didn't really cover that. But usually that's what tough. I do, and then I get to some other news stories that I wanted to get to that day, and then. And then I do.
The chat is crazy. I don't know how you do to not. And wait, sorry to interrupt, Hasan. Are there 3 different chats, or is all?
No. It's all the same chat, but it's.
How do you
I just have it open at all times so I can like catch it. No. I do read it. I read everything. That's a big problem, actually.
Okay, so
someone said they wore 2 Rolexes so that if one broke on a mission, they wouldn't fuck up the timing.
Do you think Fidel did that? I think Fidel was flexing.
Maybe.
Yeah. And also,
But I think that's fine.
Che was on more missions than Fidel, and Che only had one.
But the other thing is like, I think that's fine. I get annoyed when people are just like, no, you have to live like Jesus Christ if you're a socialist. It's like, no, dude. Normal people should not be expected to hit that fucking standard. Like,
You have to pay your taxes like a socialist.
Of course.
You've got to, and if you're in France, if you're in that 60% bracket, you got to rock with it.
I'm as close to that bracket as possible. I live in California. You know what I mean? Like,
you got to rock with that.
I'm at a flat 55 right now.
You got to rock with that. No,
and that's fine. I paid a lot of fucking money to the government, and I'm happy to do so. I wish more of it went to like education instead of the police.
But it doesn't matter. That's your swag tax. And then I think there's got to be, regular contributions, regular donations to things you believe in.
Yeah, which I do as well.
Yeah, and encouraging people to do, kind of. Yeah, I think that I think that's a big part of it. She is cool.
So all of that I do already, but of course people don't care about that. Right. There's just a lot of people who are basically like they hyper focus on. I have multiple hate watching communities at this point. They're just like hyper focused on everything I do that like can be used against me.
Sure.
And originally it was a
fair game.
Originally it was a joke like that my editor posted, being like, "You guys call this guy a socialist? Like, look at how expensive his shirt is. He's on a private jet." And like the private jet photo should have indicated that it was a joke because it's like from 2018 when I was doing an award show immediith after Coachella. Right. So they flew. They were like, "We have a private jet that's flying out if you want to hitch a ride."
Looks so Middle Eastern. Somebody said, "I'm actually half Moroccan, and my dad's family is originally from Ukraine, actually." Like a lot of Ashkenazi Jewish people.
Yeah. But basically, that was what popped off, and people were like, "He's riding in a private jet." I'm like, dude, I'm a normal person. Like, if someone is like,
a normal person doesn't ride a private jet.
No. In 2018, I was an even more normal person. If someone was like, "Do you want to hitch a ride in this private jet?" I'm not going to be like, "No."
So you never think about like. I hate that word, but you never think about the
optics.
The optics.
In 2018, fuck no. And even now, if someone was like, "Hey, there's a private jet that is like taking off this airport," you want
to hitch a ride?
You want to hitch a ride? You're gonna say no to that? You're gonna be like, "Sorry, no, I'm a."
Can I be on? Okay, I have.
So I'm just being honest. I would 100%.
Well, you got places to be. Have you? I don't know how you grew up. I grew up in a fairly modest family, and there are still spaces or experiences that make me uncomfortable, or where there's that does happen. Sometimes I have to, like, I don't know, I have to DJ. Let's say I DJ at like Surf Lodge in Montauk.
Mm-hmm. I've been there.
You've been there. Sometimes the vibe is like,
I agree with that.
It's very Aspen, and I've also played live at Aspen a lot, and
I 100% agree with that.
It makes me feel weird. Like, I remember like overhearing conversations, and being like, I think a younger version of me would have felt very, very excluded, and I'm still uncomfortable, and I still want to see everybody's tax. I want to see their tax filings. That makes me uncomfortable. Anyways,
I 100% agree with that. So whenever I'm in circles like that, as a consequence of what I do, or my friends are like, "Hey, let's go to dinner," or whatever. Like, because I have a group of friends, and we've all gotten older throughout the years, and some of them have become very successful financially, right?
Yeah, financially.
And I'm fucking 30 years old. It's like normal. We were all broke as fuck, like couch surfing. 10 years ago, and now these motherfuckers are wealthy as shit. And those people and the conversations in their group of friends is disgusting. Is abhorrent. They're all fucking like, not my friends, but like their friends are in a lot of instances like very close to Republican if they're not straight up Republican.
Right. Or the one that kills me is fiscally conservative.
Yeah, I'm socially liberal, but fiscally conservative.
That's the word. That's the one that kills me.
You're just conservative. So that stuff is.
I
saw that.
Some of these chat comments are funny. Like, I mean,
that's why you gotta steal their jokes all the time. They love it when you do that. Just steal their jokes and say
everyone
it as
is
though it's
fiscally
yours.
conservative. I'm not fiscally conservative. I don't like that.
Yeah,
anyways,
me
whatever.
either. So I do see what you're saying in that front, but like I said, if I like having an opportunity to be on a private jet, like I'm gonna take it. It's like super easy method of transportation.
I've only been on one once.
See,
Honestly,
there
one
you go.
time.
So
Yeah.
you went on a fucking private jet too.
One time for a gig.
Cancel him.
Okay, cancel me. There's a story. We were gonna miss our gig, and we were like, gotta go to work, gotta try to make this. But I don't know.
I've never fucking chartered a private jet. You know what I mean? Like
Some
that's
people
I would not do that. I don't think.
I'll put it to you like this: there's a lot more substantial things that I would base my judgment of someone on than whether or not I see him on a PJ.
Yeah.
So,
but it was also a joke regardless because it was like from 2018. It wasn't like I flew in and my hair is like so different too in the photo, but people didn't care. They were just like, fuck you.
I also want to call out
so
something.
fucking
There's
angry.
something I read that I actually like. Somebody said, I'm fiscally conservative with my little money. And that actually touches me in a weird way because I remember when I was like an academic, I had a $17,000 a year stipend, and that's what I was living on. And you can bet that I was fiscally conservative. I didn't want to pay any tax. So like, there's also something, again, this self-awareness, there's something very bourgeois about us. And we have to admit it about us being like, I'm not fiscally conservative. Tax me 65%. That means that you have enough to live on your 45 comfortably.
Yeah, no, for
35. Sorry, my math was wrong.
No, I agree 100%.
Okay.
But that's why I mean the tax system is fucked regardless. Like you're as a percentage of your like end of the year earnings, the percentage that you're paying as a working class person is incredibly high in comparison
Incommensurate.
in comparison to like
Correct.
fucking Elon Musk.
Correct.
We should talk about who pays nothing.
Be my guest.
And
bro.
is awful. And, you know, when that motherfucker is like fiscally conservative, I'm like, fuck you,
Correct.
you piece of shit.
You're
Especially
absolutely
because
right.
his entire empire is built on subsidies that he has gotten from the government. There's not a single fucking business that Elon Musk has operated since PayPal that doesn't heavily rely on the government subsidizing it. And we should appreciate what he does, right? Normally, like theoretically speaking, renewable energy guy, right? And I want government subsidies to help out renewable energy rather than the 85% of subsidies going to fossil fuel industry.
Yes,
right?
yes.
I should
Yes
like
to
that.
all that.
I should like that.
However,
in theory, but when Elon Musk is such a fucking piece of shit, so awful, so relentlessly awful, and like talking about how like taxes are bad or whatever. I'm like, motherfucker, that they funded your business and still continue to do so. Yeah, it's just very, very, very frustrating.
Yeah. I mean, there's the entitlement, the hyper capitalist impunity. There's the trolley discourse that's so corny. It's hard. It's very hard.
Yeah. So go ahead. You want
and
to
then
unload.
the workplace abuses and all that stuff that comes out. It's hard. Yeah. I have trouble.
Go ahead. What else you want to say about Elon Musk? I feel like he's the. What? Go on.
Good. No,
go on. Unload. Say what you want to say.
No,
Everything Elon Musk businesses do is possible without Elon Musk. Of course. He's a CEO. CEOs are not necessary for value. CEOs don't add value. Labor adds value. Without labor, there is no value. Without the CEO, you can totally still have value.
The persona bothers me a lot.
Yeah.
The narcissism and the persona. And
he's the inventor. He's the Tony Stark.
But he didn't even invent. Like exactly. I heard this thing about Tesla where like it wasn't even. I mean, I don't know.
It was a company already. It was an EV company that he fucking bought into that he like literally forcibly kicked off the actual founders from. Yeah. And then now he acts like he invented Tesla. Like he invented it. He invented the cars. If you ask his fucking simps, they literally act like he invented the Tesla when he did not.
What does your audience think of him?
Oh, they hate him.
Okay, right.
Yeah. No, I rip into Elon Musk all the time. I do not think he's a good person. I think he's a very bad person. I think he's the perfect manifestation of like everything that is wrong with capitalism,
with late stage capitalists,
like the way that he operates, the way that he presents himself, the way that there's so much admiration associated with
the megaphone he has, the political discursive legitimacy he has,
and also perhaps worst of all, like, and you kind of see a part of this with like the NFT craze. There is this weird thing about like being financially associated with a person, with a brand that adds into like the parasocial relationship that you have, where like people have also bought into Tesla, so they value Tesla's success.
Sure.
And they want Tesla to continue being successful. Sure. So it like doubles down. So it might be the early infatuation with Elon Musk and the brand that he's created for himself that gets you into like loving Tesla as a brand. But then you buy into it further. Right. So now you're also financially vested in its success. Sure. And a lot of people that write about Teslas and EVs are exactly like that, which is a big problem. So they continue this cycle of like positive PR for Elon Musk no matter what happens.
I'm no longer a PhD candidate and lecturer for chat. I heard, so it's chat and not the chat. It's just, you just go chat.
Say chat, yeah.
No article. Okay, gotcha. Well, chat, I am no longer a PhD candidate and lecturer, but I was. Okay. Well, yeah, that's a good spiel. I mean, I'm more, maybe because I was studying literature or whatever, and my dad is a linguist. My dad is a Chomskyan linguist, segue. But I'm very sensitive to like discourse, social discourse, and the ramifications that has in a culture at a given point in time. And I think that Elon's discursive style bothers me, but that's maybe for another thing.
Yeah, I just don't like. I don't know. I just don't like everything he represents. Yeah. I despise everything he represents. So, a lot of fanboys became millionaires from the stock. So there's buy-in. That's what I was saying exactly. So. Other than Elon Musk, we got Noam Chomsky. Did you read the article in Current Affairs?
What do you think about that? I was reading other ones.
Because Dave here is pro-NATO, and I am not.
No, I didn't want to say that. I was trolling you by text. It's not true.
Oh, you were?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought. Well,
no,
you are Ukrainian though. We were going to talk about Russia, Ukraine. If you want.
I'm not. My background's Ukraine. Most Ashkenazi Jewish people. So I'm half Moroccan, half. My mom is from Morocco. She's a Moroccan immigrant. And very much identifies as an Arab Jew, and we could talk about Palestine too. I would love to, but on my father's side, we're Ashkenazi Jews, and the vast majority of Ashkenazi Jews who live here in North America are from a region called the Pale of Settlement, and that little region encompassed Ukraine. When my great-great-grandfather immigrated and ended up in, I think Ellis Island or something. He didn't even know where he was from, but it was Ukraine. So yeah. But I don't want to say I'm pro-NATO. And I actually think what's crazy is that, everybody's got a different silo and a different echo chamber. And in my echo chamber, the points that Chomsky makes are kind of just like, it feels like common sense. I don't even know why he got into trouble. Like, please give me insight on what.
Well, the reason why he got
what he said about what's controversial about saying don't send missiles and avoid nuclear warfare.
Avoid nuclear holocaust. Don't send missiles.
Yes.
And if
where's the controversy?
And if the primary concern is like the livelihood and lives of Ukrainians, you have to immediately
find a diplomatic, some kind of half-assed. Diplomatic, we know it's going to be half-assed, but some kind of diplomatic end to this. That's what he says. Where's the controversy?
The controversy is that I think Americans have this attitude, especially in the West, like Westerners have this attitude that they've been conditioned by years and years of manufactured consent to have like a you're with us or you're against this kind of attitude, a black and white attitude, a good and evil attitude. Okay. When it comes to analyzing any kind of foreign politics, any kind of international relations. And in the post 9/11 universe that we live in, this was an instance for so many people. Fight to the
last man. I saw that.
Yeah, this was an instance for so many people to just be like, okay, this is it. We are finally not like the main villain of the story. And as a matter of fact, we're the good guys in this story against Russia, who are the bad guys. And there's no other reason for why this is happening other than like Russia's bloodthirsty ways, and all Russians are bad.
So can I interject something, Hasan?
Go ahead.
Because what you're saying is interesting, and it's probably symptomatic of like the, say, echo chamber or the silo that you're in. In my silo, what bothers, I guess for some reason, I don't know who I follow or whatever, but in my silo, I don't have that binary as much. And in my silo, what bothers me, and I want to address that because it's something that I have a lot of trouble with, is that on the one hand, you'll have a discourse that's critical of NATO, like yours. You'll have a discourse that favors some kind of diplomatic-ish solution. You can't have diplomacy with Putin, and even Chomsky acknowledges that.
Yeah.
But there's going to be a disgusting compromise made, but more lives will be saved, and that's something that Chomsky acknowledges, right?
Yeah.
So you'll have that on one hand. And then when I doom scroll Chernovich, I don't know if that's how I pronounce his name, right?
Or what, like Candace Owens and shit?
Yes.
I have no idea what the fuck they're saying.
Because I doom scroll that. When I
don't know
want
why.
to have insomnia,
That's
I
not
doom
good.
I am
Not good
it's
for
not
your-
good. When I don't know what this is, pure masochism, and I'll doom scroll. And when I doom scroll the best rhetoricians on the extreme right, what do I find?
Are they pro-Russia or something? I don't know.
Of course not. They're not pro-Russia, but there's a lot of two sides. There's a lot of criticism of NATO because for them, NATO is like, it's the American Illuminati, basically, right? And there's a lot of, well, we have to negotiate because they're not interventionists, right? So but then after that, there'll be, crazy paranoid things about like the images in Busha are fake and so on and so forth.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. That
Crazy
stuff is
shit.
insane.
But if I ignore those, which truly give me insomnia, what terrifies me sometimes is that some of the points that a Chomskyan will make overlap with fragments of points that a Candace will make.
Well, that's
And
because
that's enough to give me IBS.
So here's the thing.
for a week.
But that's not new, right?
It's not new.
The thing is like the right wingers have always been way more aware of optics than left wingers because their ideology is disgusting and really violent for the most part. So they know how to fucking try to
They've got
very
the rhetoric down.
pragmatically
Yeah.
sell it as
Yeah.
though it's not.
Give Dave a
And-
drink. Give me a drink.
Yeah, what do you
Sorry.
want?
Is that mine?
Yeah, sure. You can have that if you
All right,
want.
cool. Thank you.
I also have like a bunch of other beverages too.
I'm good with this.
Okay. So, white power was created as a reactionary movement against black power.
Yeah.
So, same with like, the pro-life movement. Like
So
they're not pro-life.
you never doom scroll what
No, all the time.
You have equivalents. There's the Hassans of the other spectrum.
Yeah.
Do you doom scroll them sometimes?
Yeah, all the time. I mean, I look at Ben Shapiro, I look at Steven Crowder. There are definitely lengths that I don't go to.
Ben Shapiro is dumber than he's not even your equivalent. He's so daft. There's no self-awareness.
He's very smart. I think he's just like he's very good at
To me, he's middle of the road.
he's very good at couching his like horrifying reactionary agenda in terms that are more appealing.
Common sense, his whole thing, right?
In terms that are more appealing to
I
like
can't with him.
the Normans. But like Cernovich, I think is like just insane. So I don't even look at that. I'm like, that's
But I'll give you an example, right? And this is, chat. I don't know how you'll react to this. The punitive measures against some Russian artists in North America scandalize me.
oh yeah, it's so fucked up.
Candace
insane.
rails against it, and rightly so. When I found myself agreeing with a thread of Candace tweets, and
There's a problem.
it's not the overlap is there. We agree. I mean, on that point, on that little ideological nugget, we agree with her.
You know what the issue is there? And I've talked about this with respect to Tucker Carlson a lot. What does Tucker Carlson do? Tucker Carlson is a white supremacist. I think you and I both know this, right? We acknowledge it.
100%.
He's a white nationalist, he's a white supremacist.
Yes.
And what Tucker Carlson does really good is rail against corporations.
Yeah.
That he picks and chooses, obviously, even though he's literally
populist talking points. Right?
Yeah, he does a really good job of like instilling right-wing populism.
Yep.
And maintaining this presence. He's like pro-worker, pro-labor
Yep.
when he fucking is not. He's a libertarian that works for Fox News, right?
Yeah.
And what I've always said about Tucker Carlson is that if the left cannot have prominence in mainstream media, we are ceding ground to the right to make these arguments. And they are not doing it from a genuine point of view.
Yeah, that's a good point. So
They're not doing it from a genuine point of view. They're doing it to actually serve their higher purpose, which is nationalism.
They are trying to one of their or capitalism, but you are what you're
capitalist
saying,
nationalism,
but
fascism.
They're trying to siphon away a working class. By the way, they're not trying; they succeeded. They're siphoning away working class voters. They've done that, by the way, successfully.
Yeah.
And Reagan invented that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think Reagan personally
I
invented
don't know.
it.
I'm
but
saying
Reagan
Reagan pioneered that. He's
Reagan
the one who
era
turned.
politics, yeah.
He turned the South right, right?
Yeah, there's a lot
And we're
of
seeing
that.
it happen again in the Rust Belt. Anyways, point is, I agree with you. What I think is important to me is that the criticism that we articulate, let's say if it's in the Chomskyan way, right? So we want it's going to be a painful diplomatic-ish solution to this conflict, but that's what it's going to be if we don't want nuclear destruction or if we don't want Ukrainians to keep being senselessly murdered, right? But what we voice, or if you voice a certain criticism of NATO, I think it's our duty to do it in a way that is radically different than the Chernoviches or the Candaces or the populist right-wing hypocrites. That's my whole thing. I feel like you didn't listen to what I just said.
No, I did. No, I agree. I'm thinking of like how to do that, how to best do.
Well, that's why I doom scroll. That's why I doom scroll their shit, because I'm like, I want to see how they say it, so I could say it different.
And the frustrating part about that, however, is that like I think because of the way that people, because of the approach that people have to like covering these sorts of things, the good evil dichotomy that I was just mentioning, and how like preconditioned they are to approach these kinds of subjects in that kind of fervor, where we don't negotiate with terrorists. Like you're either with us or against us.
What does that mean? I'm squirrel confirmed. Sorry. What? Go on. No, we don't. I know
you're doing the thing now.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah. It's so addictive. I just want to say to chat, this is like one of my first time doing this, so I'm sorry, I'm distracted. So you say, yeah, but it's so funny. Like for me, we live. My feed or whatever it is so post dichotomy already that I'm like so, and that my day-to-day concern is basically, all right, this person's criticism of Israel is actually rooted in their personal anti-Semitism, and this person's criticism of Israel is absolutely legit. Their 140 character tweet might be almost the same. Yeah. How do I tell one from another? That's the world that I'm living in, total post dichotomy molasses.
Yeah, no, you're
PDM.
It's just you can't. There is like sometimes it's virtually indistinguishable, especially because, like I said, there's a big error in the liberal side, which dominates mainstream media, that refuses to allow left-wing perspectives to be heard. Which is why the only time you hear any kind of sentiment that is critical of Israel, you only hear it from fucking reactionaries who are like anti-Semitic, and that's why they're like, oh yeah, why are we giving money to Israel? Fuck you, because Jews control our government. And it's like, well, no. But so for the average liberal, for the average like normie who doesn't care about this sort of stuff, who hasn't thought about this deeply, it's virtually indistinguishable because the only times that they've heard it is from anti-Semites.
It's hard. But
the same with like anti-NATO sentiment or anything like that. They've only heard it from Cernovich, so they're like, what the fuck? This guy's supposed to be a leftist. He sounds like Cernovich. What is this?
And that's what keeps me up at night. It's that overlap in discourse. But, and I've talked about this before because one of the reasons, I think that we became friends is that we're both from kind of like hybrid backgrounds, right?
Yeah.
And
meta boys.
Meta boys.
I know. Yeah.
Meta boys. And those paradoxes, I think, were crucial to the development of our thinking. And for my part,
sorry, I just clicked on a link.
Oh my god.
I don't know what the fuck's going on here.
Oh my god. I was going to talk about Jewish identity and my
we can get back to that.
My pro-Palestine views, but then no, but see, this is what they do. We're about to talk about something smart, and then Madison comes in.
We'll
comes in. No, let's go. I want to see what happens.
No. Let's continue with what you were going to say. No. It's more. No. What you're saying is more interesting. We've also had this discussion before at the Young Turks in 2017 or something, back when, way back in the day.
It's possible to be attached to your Jewish identity, to be as Jewish passing as I am, I'm not religious, but culturally, I'll say I'm Jewish. It's also very possible for someone like me to be extremely sensitive to anti-Semitism in North America and in Europe, and at the same time, in the same breath, to be unconditionally pro-Palestine. And
that's like in its foundation. A lot of Jewish leftist movements literally were fucking radical communist people.
They're
you
called
know what I mean?
Yeah, the Bund.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that in old school New York.
Like anti-Nazi, anti-fascist, unconditionally for obvious reasons, and like what it has turned into because of like a lot of Zionist lobbying and you know,
various
more
shades of Kutcher-ness.
Yeah, there's a lot of reactionary groups that were able to take over the entirety of the discourse and present it as one way.
And Bundism, somebody was like, okay, they know what that means. You're right, and also, you know, even Zionism has different significations throughout the eras and different shades of it. Unfortunately, now the practical meaning of it is something we don't identify with. Or at least when I say that was the royal we, I don't identify.
It's turned into just the complete evisceration of Palestinian life because it's like unmanageable to survive alongside it, and that's why you hear people that literally say stuff like, oh yeah, you want Palestine to exist? That means you want all Jews to fucking die. You want, you know, you hate Jews. Yeah, it's very difficult to have that conversation.
Yeah, Dave, do I listen to T Grizzly? I do.
Yeah.
In France, the media tries to put Muslim against Jews everywhere.
Everywhere they do that. Yeah.
But you know, it's like for someone, it's if your identity is hybrid like that, right? Like if you're, you know, my mom, it's French and Arabic. If you see what she looks like, she looks like she's from Lebanon or Syria. She doesn't have any real personal relationship with Israel. She went from Morocco to Canada. All she wants is to go back to Morocco and listen to Arabic music. You know what I'm saying? Like those identities exist. And for someone like me, it's both possible to be attached to Jewish cultural identities to a certain degree. I don't rail about it all day. And to be sensitive to anti-Semitism, to acknowledge its existence, but to say that in the bigger scheme of things, the Palestinian issue is something that we must address. Anyways,
and often don't, and it gets it completely gets like pushed aside, cast aside. Unfortunately,
what do I think of the French elections? That's a whole thing too.
Yeah. What do you think about the French elections? I know Sean had a good shot, but once again, I think
so. Something I read about him actually that kind of connects with what we talked about before. He didn't have a good shot. I mean, he was whatever.
No. I'm saying he had a good shot of at least defeating Le Pen to make it to the first round. I mean, he was very close. He was like within 400,000 votes or something, which is nothing. Close. Especially when you think about the coalition of other like supposedly leftist social democratic groups that basically ran against him as spoilers to ensure that it was a Le Pen versus Macron.
But see, for instance, this is. I mean, I'll give you another example. Like, I hope I'm not butchering his name, but Jeremy Corbyn.
Yeah, I love Corbyn.
I know you do, but see, me, there's certain things where like there's a little anti-Semitic rub. There's things.
No. I don't think Corbyn's anti-Semite.
Okay. All right.
I think you got whipped up. I think you got whipped up with the media frenzy against him.
No, I didn't. There's certain, but you know what? I'll give him the benefit of the doubt because at the end of the day, I want more politicians like that in the world. So, but there's certain things. Anyways, in terms of
why do you think that? Why do you think Corbyn's an anti-Semite?
I don't think he's an anti-Semite,
or has like anti-Semitic characteristics.
No, it's not even that. It's if you take that little piece of discourse. First of all, his pro-Palestine stance is probably demagogical as well.
What do you mean?
He's doing that to kiss ass.
No. He's. If you look in his history, you'll see. I don't think it is because he is like always. He was anti-apartheid. Like he's always been an advocate for marginalized people all around the world, since day one. Like I think his biggest faults, his biggest failures was being stuck at the leadership of the Labor Party at the time, dealing with splinter infighting within the Labor Party, which came out was like literally using the anti-Semitism discourse against him to destroy him.
Maybe this is me being a fragile Jewish snowflake.
No, that's not what I'm
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe I'll be open to it. I'll take it.
I don't think it's that. I think it's just when you have overwhelming amounts of information that from every facet of media saying a person is one way, it's very hard to overlook
come on,
that.
I know better than that. I'm a big okay, whatever. Anyways, but I read something in the French media the other day, and it's a word I never heard before, an expression I never heard before, and they call it red brown, rouge brun.
Oh, red brown alliance.
Yeah. And that's the expression they use to denote the socialist positions that have a dangerous overlap.
No, that's bullshit. I know what you're saying, and that's a real thing. Like kooks engaging.
No one is above propaganda. Somebody said that. I like that. That's honest.
Yeah.
Fuck Le Pen.
The thing is that Mélenchon has openly stated, not a single vote should go to Le Pen from this party, and I think the reason why they're trying to present it as such is because, once again, I think that anyone that is even a social democrat, or anyone that is like a legitimate social democrat, or anyone that's a communist, anyone that's a socialist, is seen as like an actual fucking threat to the established capitalist order, and therefore will be disparaged in any way. Like, no matter what you do to these people, no matter what you say about these people, they will fucking... It's fine. It's justifiable. It's worth it because...
Let's backtrack, right? Let's backtrack. The people who guide your political beliefs, which is normal, regular, working class people, folks, they don't give a fuck about anything we just discussed. Right?
Yeah.
They want a job. They want benefits. They want safety. They want stability. Do you feel like the ideological discourse on the left, and sometimes the culture wars that go with it, is alienating these people and is forcing them to be like, you know what? These people, these liberals annoy
100%.
me. I don't relate with them. I just want my job at the power plant or wherever it is.
100%. I agree, yes.
Isn't
in the absence...
That's also what keeps me up at night.
Yeah, in the absence of labor militancy, in the absence of real organizing, in the absence of clear, consistent policy positions that one side is advocating for and championing.
Policy positions is key.
Yeah, you're going to get wedge issues that Republicans, oftentimes reactionaries, create.
They love them.
To focus their fucking POV, to focus everyone's POV elsewhere.
Yep.
They're creating battles where no such battle should ever exist. Abortion is a great example of this. Obviously, there's like a super fucking vocal minority of Republican voters that are active voters and in the base that care about abortion. But outside of that, like 30% of Republican voters, which is a fraction, right? Abortion is pretty much a clear-cut, open and shut, super precedent in the Supreme Court. 75% of Americans have consistently polled over and over again and have supported Roe v. Wade as the law of the land. And yet, for some reason, we're still having anti-abortion bills being passed through Republican legislatures in states. And it's same with like LGBT issues.
Somebody asked if I listen to Sheb Khaled. Yes, my mom loves that shit. Anyways, go on. I'm sorry. I'm getting distracted by chat.
But the reason why we have those wedge issues, and the reason why we constantly have ourselves constantly on the left and liberals as well, constantly fucking defending against certain actions that Republicans are taking, is because Republicans should be on the back foot. Republicans should be actually reacting to progress.
Except that
if we're not going to push for progress,
or they're creating these false controversies to distract us from the fact that either YB is better ratio, or that they're trying to siphon working class votes away from
YB is better.
Yes, YB is better.
That's funny.
Okay.
Here, I'll show you. Here is one of my favorite writers, Alex Perrine.
Yep.
Here it is.
He says, to come here more often, man. This is fun.
He says, a lot of what people call polarization is just Republican polls and conservative media making their audience hate things they used to like or be neutral on.
Yeah.
This seems important. There's an ongoing collapse in pro-institution sentiment among Republicans who disapprove of colleges, big corporations, tech firms, media, entertainment, and unions. Basically, everything is bad except church, because they hate, like, Republicans in the 90s used to be like pro-big corporations, like advocate for corporations
It was the big money party, of course.
Yeah, but now they're like, oh, big corporations are bad too, actually. Fuck corporations because they're woke and gay, you know? So now you have people getting mad at that.
I mean,
And
we've both witnessed freedom of speech becoming a right-wing talking point, right?
Yeah, which is insane when you think
insane.
about it, because
But
they are the
that's what
most
I focus on.
censorious.
I know. Well, but yes and no.
You're an artist. You're an artist. You know this better than anyone else. Like, they love the number 80% of books that are censored in the United States of America are censored by right-wing groups because they are books that are considered to be too radical, whether it be socialist or whether it be like, talking about LGBT issues. And yet, when you ask the Norman, the average fucking common citizen, who's more censorious, they will immediately say the left, of course.
Big corporation. Yeah.
Big corporations to the left.
Yeah, and it's fucking clever on their part to, on the one hand, want to ban, social justice books, and on the other hand, to say that they advocate free speech in the face of big tech.
CRT, because CRT is damaging. So that's why that kind of censorship is appropriate and justifiable.
And so to go back to what we were discussing at the very beginning, what keeps me up at night is those paradoxes. Like the binary, to me, we're way past the binary. We're in this world of like absurd paradox.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, they're projecting.
You have to agree.
No, I think so. I think they're just like, they're very good
This is one of the best guests Hasan has ever had. Thank you. I'll be back. I like doing this. When I come, why don't I come whenever I'm in LA? I can come hang out with you.
Yeah, for sure.
Because actually, this discussion makes me feel better. Because we're all siloed in echo chambers, and my echo chamber drives me crazy, especially when I start doom scrolling right wing discourse to see if, God forbid, there's something in there that actually resonates with a talking point I have. Like,
no, you can't match yourself. You can't match yourself against like charlatans who routinely fucking use anything and everything to propagandize their deeply nefarious and reactionary worldview. That's not something I do at all. I'm
going to repeat
grounded.
that. That's going to be my mantra.
Yeah, that's just, I'm grounded within dialectical materialism. I believe what I believe in because I apply materialism.
Dialectical materialism. Yeah, but that's from the 1800s, bro.
No, I mean, it doesn't. I mean, I know. It's like there's an application for it still, though. It's not like. I'm not saying I'm like, following Marxist thought as though it's a dogma.
Don't you think that the problem with the prominent cultural leftists in America right now is that they're too dogmatic
100%.
and not aware enough of the paradoxes we're talking about?
No, I think that there's an issue with dogmatic thought in every kind of ideology. Yes, for sure.
But only one kind of ideology matters to us because it's ours. So let's
So no, there is definitely that for sure. I mean, but I think that the left overall is so feckless and ineffective in the grand scheme of things that like I don't even think about people being like, oh, you're not following the theoretical applications of Marxist-Leninist thought. Like I'm like, okay, fuck off. Like you're
fuck off. I'm wearing a Gucci shirt. Let me go to Coachella.
Well, that's not even.
I'm chasing after a 7-foot girl right now.
7-foot girl. Yeah, no, it's just like that's not something I concern myself with ever because like I find that to be. I find that to be like a strange thing to ever focus on because of how little meaning there is there. It's just they have nothing. There are no like real Maoist third worldists in America that are making an impact in policy. They're functionally non-existent. Right?
Yeah, of course.
Whereas white supremacy and white supremacists and right wingers and reactionaries are in our
the Supreme
politics.
Court.
Yeah, exactly.
All the way up there, all the way to the top.
So I only focus my efforts on like, people that do matter and not just like fucking random weirdos.
Man, there's so many dope questions.
Go ahead, you can answer.
No, it's fine. I got to go to the studio. But
are you about to leave soon?
Soon. This is fun. Somebody said I look like a version of you that doesn't work out. I do yoga, okay? But maybe we'll do a workout stream. I mean, what happened, dude?
What do you mean?
When I first met you, you weren't this jacked.
No.
What happened?
I was in better shape when you first met me. I think
what
what
you
happened
find you're
is
in worse shape now?
I was in better shape, and then I got really fat over the course of COVID, and now I lost it, and so now I'm just like I'm still bulked up. I have residual bulk from being.
But so did you work out every day?
Yeah.
I see. All right.
Yeah, but I used to work out every day back then too.
Always worked out every day. Yeah, you've always had that thing.
Yeah, for sure. He ate all the cookies. That's true. I did eat a lot of cookies last night.
What were the memes you wanted to look at today? I want to look at some memes before I dip.
Before the memes, I wanted to show you the thing about the industry. I think that
yeah.
That's definitely something because I can't like.
Sure.
So
I hope chat will be. See how I say chat and not chat?
no, it's good. You're doing a good job.
I'm doing good,
You're
right?
already
You're
killing
doing
it.
Great.
So this is Chloe Bailey.
Wait. So I hope chat is interested in this because we're veering away from.
No, it's still about capitalism, though,
It's got capitalism
and how exploitative the music industry is.
Let's go.
So this is Chloe Bailey talking on this podcast or the show, talking about something that I was made aware of like a while ago. I have some artist friends, and I was shocked when I found out that like some of these top artists that you see are not exactly as like wealthy as you would think they are, even though they are generating a fuckload of wealth for others.
Yeah.
And she basically nails it right here.
A lot of people, fans, viewers, listeners, they don't really know about the music industry. Like, it would shock them to learn that this is part of the process, right? We just be like, all right, where's the music? Let's go.
You know, you can create music all day long, but it's like, especially if you're signed to a label, you can't control your release dates or when things get released. Also,
26,000.
musicians don't make a lot of money in the music industry. That's why you see a lot of people, they have brand deals and brand sponsorships. That's where the coin comes from in touring. But like music itself, you're actually losing money.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ain't that crazy? Oh my God.
Oh, you want to know something else?
Yeah.
I learned this because I would produce Sis and I's records. Producers outside will get paid a huge lump sum, but because I would produce Sis and I's records, I couldn't get paid because I was the producer within the group.
Now, hold up. You're doing the same work, but not getting a dime from it because it's your own music.
Yes.
Now, how does that
And
make
also,
sense?
like, I don't know if it changed within Grammys, but you know, like how they have Producer of the Year. I learned it from Imogene Heap because, you know, she produces a lot of her stuff. So does Grimes, so does Bjork. They couldn't be contenders for Producer of the Year because they were the ones producing their own bodies of work and not for others. And notice how those are just the women I named.
Wow, I had
She's awesome.
no idea.
The good thing is that even though you do lose money in the music business, you get a coin from everything that comes from the music you're making. So it's like almost the music is almost like the ad. You know what I mean? So it's a business, and sometimes it's sad to think of it that way, but that's why tours go big and everything. That's where you make your money and the big brand deals. So that's like a fact that not too many people know. They think it's like this huge high life thing. And
It's crazy that to think that like Mr. Beast, for example, in 1 year.
Who?
Mr. Beast, he's a gigantic YouTuber, probably going to be like the biggest YouTuber if he's not already the biggest YouTuber, kind of functionally. But Mr. Beast,
I don't know who that is.
he made I think $56 million last year, like just in 1 year alone.
Yeah.
And that amount of wealth that he was able to generate as an influencer, as a YouTuber who does like numerous other ventures as well. That is unimaginable for an artist, right? Like,
It's
would you
hard to
say
imagine
that's
that for
like
an artist.
you have to be like a fucking world-changing artist, and not even like I don't think John Mayer is making that unless he like sells his masters or some shit. He does tour a lot.
He tours a lot. The tours generate a lot. I don't think it's 50.
But like, think about that. I just mentioned John Mayer and Mr. Beast in the same sentence, and we don't even know if John Mayer makes more money than Mr. Beast in 1 year. Mr. Beast, you don't even know who the fuck he is.
No idea.
Everybody knows who John Mayer is, and that's precisely what I mean when I talk about this, where it's like influencers, YouTubers make more money than these like incredible artists that everyone thinks are like some of the wealthiest people on the planet, and that's because the industry takes so much.
Yeah, they do. They do, and it's going to start changing. But you know, so I'll try to keep it short to not bore you or chat. But I think that the years from let's say 1999 to 2000, I don't know, 15, 14 were some of the most incredible years in music, both in terms of business. And I'll say why, or anti-business, and in terms of the quality of the music that came out. So like 1999 to 2014, piracy created this huge gap, and the music business wasn't selling. The music business wasn't working, and all the major labels were losing money. And, you know, of course you had Eminem that was selling records and Taylor Swift or whatever, but like everybody else, they were losing money. Piracy was so big. And I look back at that time as an extremely subversive period in the music industry.
Because they were focused on art instead of money? Is that what you're saying?
Dude, think about the bands that blew up. A band that like Arcade Fire or The Strokes, those like seminal indie bands that blew up during that time, They didn't blow up because of record sales. They sold brick. They weren't selling anything. Nobody was like, oh, they have X amount of millions of monthly listeners on Spotify. There's no such thing.
Yeah.
The music was completely downloaded, pirated, disseminated for free. And these people were making money off of tours and being so happy about it. And it was working, right? And then, of course, capitalism took over and the powers that be took over. And I remember...
And Metallica.
And I remember clearly a conversation happening in 2016 when somebody told me and my brother, the music business is making money again. And that is when, streaming platforms became kind of the dominant way of consuming music. And anybody that knows...
But it doesn't even translate the dollars
Correct.
for artists, though. It
Correct.
just translates the dollars for big brands,
Correct.
big budgets,
Labels.
corporations,
Yeah.
labels.
0.007 dollars per for one stream.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's insane. It's
Yeah.
just...
It's insane.
Yeah.
I mean, and by the way, some artists stream so highly that they make money off of streams, but it's really the middle class that suffers.
But that's why
It's
you also
truly-
see...
By the way, that's really what it is.
Yeah.
It's those middle class, half indie, kind of like medium size, the ones that play the Fonda and the Wiltern.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that are feeling it.
Yeah. It's...
Not the headliners, not the Coachella headliners.
But
They're
that's
fine.
also how you see like people get like that's how you see like talent get developed. You have this is the age of like the Instagram influencer / like viral sensation turning into an artist because it's so like with a producer they could make me into a fucking artist. Like that's the unfortunate reality. Where like with good producers, they could literally turn anything into hit making gold.
Yeah.
And they've done it. Like
There's
with Bad
something that-
Baby.
There's something that there's something that's depressing about music right now, and I don't want to seem like I'm like this kind of old head complaining about it because I do have a million optimistic views about both the music business, how to transform your business model as a musician as something that works, and so on. We can talk about it another time, but. For the last couple of years, TikTok has been such a tool for music discovery that you'll be at a record label and they'll be like, yo, if we're lucky, we're going to get a TikTok moment with your song. We're going to put $50,000 into hoping that a fragment of your song, 30 seconds of that song is background music while a teenager dances.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, bro, I'm 40 years old. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, no, and then boom, like it hits.
Well, or it doesn't. In most cases, it doesn't, right?
No, but like Jack Harlow, I like Jack Harlow's
me too.
music.
Great.
Okay, I think he's great. I think he's very successful. He's doing it big for like the cool white people. Okay, he's
No, he's doing it big for. He's just dope.
No, I agree. I'm just saying that like white people were not having a good moment for a while now. Okay, and he's bringing it back.
Right.
So, but not in a bad way, in a good way.
Right.
So, I love Jack Harlow, but his music is like, I feel like some of his songs are tailored towards that, and that's part of the reason why he pops the fuck off.
It's part of the game. But then you have incredible TikTok success stories like Steve Lacy went platinum from TikTok hits without even trying.
That's what I was gonna say. Like it's just wild.
Mitski, the indie singer who's incredible. She literally turned her phone off during quarantine, took all the apps out, and became a TikTok sensation. Unbeknownst to her, her friends were being like, "Yo, you're going viral." on
Doja
this."
Cat.
But Doja's clever. She is a TikTok success story, but she is very, very clever, and
I agree.
And she plays the internet. She knows how to play that game.
Yeah,
Anyways,
I agree.
there's a lot we could talk about with that, and it's insane. And we could talk about, but we are in a period right now where the big corporations' hold on the music industry is massive. And when I'm talking about the big corporations, it's not even labels. It's Live Nation. It's AEG that puts on Coachella. We were just there, right?
Yeah.
Like the festivals, the venue, the ticket buying services, all of that. So, yeah. Or the people that are buying masters as equity. That's a huge thing. Selling catalog as equity. There's more guaranteed revenue stability with music catalog now because of streaming than in real estate. So you can say, okay, Bob Dylan, this is what your catalog earns. Here's a multiple. Just sell everything to me. All right, chat. I'm done boring you
I
guys.
should buy some catalogs. What you're saying?
Buy some of my catalog.
I'm gonna invest.
With this streaming money.
Yeah,
We'll make a deal.
I'm investing in Chromio, boys.
All
right. Well, thank you so much,
Dude,
Dave, for coming. This was awesome.
We got to do this more often.
100%.
I like those conversations, and I hope
you go and you do
what
you do best.
I'm gonna go to the studio. Thank you for having me, and peace, chat. You guys are fun, and you can make jokes at my expense. I love it.
Do you have anything you want to promote?
You know what? Let's do this.
Yeah, do some promotion.
Because we're talking about it's nothing to do with me. I would be so corny for me to promote something that has to do with me right now.
Are you going back for Duck's House again?
Yeah.
You are?
Definitely.
Okay.
But let's promote Bandcamp, which is a platform where indie music thrives, although they got bought out by like this huge video game conglomerate. No one is safe. But if people out there want to support independent music and independent musicians from all over the world and really interesting editorial, Bandcamp, I think, is like a good place to start.
Wait, Epic bought Bandcamp? My God.
Dude, they did. They did.
No.
They did. But that's what tells you, bro. Bandcamp was like the Ben and Jerry's of music. You know what I'm saying? Like the last bastion of ethical. And yeah, they got bought by Epic, but it's still legit.
It could be good though. They could put like a lot of independent artists in like properties, like in Fortnite and whatnot, and other Epic properties. So that could be really good.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's one thing. Peace.
All right.
Bye-bye. I'll call my Uber. Thanks for having me. And do people know this is a socks off house? Shoes off house?
Yeah, they know because I yell
that.
at my friend Austin who
love
comes
that.
over and he never takes his shoes off. I'm like, bro, take your fucking shoes off.
Respect. Hasan, this was so fun.
Yeah, it's awesome.
All right.
Thanks for coming on, man. All right, guys, that was David Maklovich, aka Dave1 of Chromio. Wonderful friend of the show, brilliant artist. He's multifaceted. Yeah, I'm just. He's still in here. You can hear what I'm saying. But yeah, once again, we always have dope convos.